Hi everyone. In this lesson, we're going to talk about negative numbers and absolute value. So many mistakes in algebra come from sign errors, so this lesson is very important. We'll take it step by step. So, first of all, what are negative numbers? So, negative numbers are numbers less than zero. Let's say they are -1, -5, or -10, etc. etc. So you can think of them as numbers below zero on a number line. The positive numbers are above zero. Zero is in the middle. So um, adding and subtracting negatives. Let's move on. So subtraction. Let's take a look at this equation. Here we get x minus 5 being equal to 2, and to do that we need to add 5 to both sides, and here we get the answer. The value of x is 7. So now look at this one. What do we do here? To solve this, subtracting a negative is the same as adding, so this becomes here x plus 5 being equal to 2, and here we get the value of x being equal to -3. It's because we subtract 5 from both sides. So multiplying and dividing negatives. Here we get the rules. You can see here that positive being multiplied by positive gives us also positive answer, and also negative being multiplied by negative, it also gives us positive. Why is that? Because two negatives just they cancel out and they give us positive answer. So here in the examples we can see that two negatives are being multiplied, and here we get the positive answer. And here, as in the fourth rule, negative is being multiplied by positive, but anyways it stays negative. So yeah, the same rules apply for division. They also cancel out and stuff. Yep. So solving equations with negatives. We got to solve now this one, and to do that we need to divide both sides by -3. And here we get the value of x, which is -3. By dividing this side by -3, those negatives just cancel out, and here we get the value of x. So let's move on. Our first step here is to subtract 4 from both sides, and the value of -2x is 6 here, and our second step is to divide both sides by -2, and the value of the x is actually -3. Dividing by negative change the sign. Yep. So absolute value. Now the absolute value of a number is its distance from 0. So we write absolute value using bars, these bars, and let's say the absolute value of 5 is also 5, but the absolute value of -5 is 5 also. That's because absolute value is never negative. if it has a negative in it inside the bars, those just cancel out with these bars. And yeah, so um, absolute value is never negative, right? So we need to solve this now. um, so simple absolute value equation. To do that, we first of all need to understand that uh, the value of x can be both 4 and negative 4. That's because, as I said, uh, when we count when you count absolute value, it can either be 4 or negative 4, because you know here if we put both 4 and negative 4, it will be suitable for this equation. So now so yeah, the solutions are 4 and or negative 4. Absolute value with subtraction. So here we get also two cases. So in first, we just need to calculate it. Like we need to add 3 to both sides, and here we get the value of x, which is 8. But in the second one, in the second case, we need to change the sign here. Instead of like nothing, we just put here negative, and that's because we have these bars here or here, and that's why it can these its value can be both 5 and negative 5. That's why we get to put here negative 5 and count it down. So to do that, we also need to add 3 to both sides, and here we get the value of x being equal to negative 2. So the solutions are 8 or negative 2. So now let's review. Negative numbers are below 0, do not forget. And be careful with signs, and dividing or multiplying by a negative change the sign. Also, now you know it. And absolute value is distance from 0. So absolute value equations usually have two solutions. That's because these bars value can be both negative and positive. In the next lesson, we'll work with inequalities where the answers are a range of numbers instead of one value. So thanks for watching, and take your time with maths. Bye bye.